Let's welcome back to episode number 37 of the toonTALK podcast brought to you by Magpie 24/7. I am joined today by Jay. How are you doing, Jay?
Couldn't be better.
Of course, that's after we won a game. Yes, exactly. Newcastle United won a game.
Finally.
We actually are winning quite a few games. It's now 7 out of 9 with this West Ham result, which only just finished a couple of minutes ago, and we hopped on this recording straight after, so we won't be able to see any of the interviews from Eddie Howe or any of the players, and this will be a very fresh reaction to this game. So without any further ado, before we get into the game, let's start by talking about the starting lineup of this match against West Ham. Let's not forget a huge match, not just for us to keep a slimmer of hope alive for the European qualification this season, but also for West Ham, who are massively fighting relegation all the way down at the bottom of the table. So they probably needed 3 points more than us, and I think Eddie came out with a pretty strong lineup for this game. What did you make of it?
Was unsure if when I saw it, I was very unsure if he really leaves his 4-3-3 shape. And first thought was that we're gonna start with Barnes, Osula, and Barnes, Woltemade, and Osula on the left or right wing. I couldn't believe that he really breaks up his 4-3-3 shape and starts with Ramsey like something like a half winger, like we did with Joe Linton before. Yeah, but he did. I think it was a right choice in the end. Definitely.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think this is now the second game Nick Woltemade starts alongside Will Osula, and to me, there's immediate benefits to starting them both, which we can see. I think they combine really well in the final third, which allows us more time on the ball and more space for attackers to run onto it. I think if there was a little bit less selfish finishing today, we might have even scored 4 or 5 past West Ham. There was some pretty shambolic defending on their part too, so that always helps as well. But I think he is making a very big impact in that number 10 role, a bigger impact than he was when he was isolated in the number 9, because that's just not his game. We've been saying that for the entire season, and now you're starting to see what excited us so much at the beginning of the season when it comes to Nick Woltemade. That intricate link-up play, the skill he has with the ball at his feet. There are every single game, especially when he starts, for me, there are 2 to 3 absolutely world-class moments in which he usually puts a teammate one-on-one against the goalkeeper or gets them in a little bit more space where they can get a better cross-off, for example. I think he's showing some real promise, and a good time too to show that right before Eddie will be making decisions in the summer again.
Yeah, for sure. It's what I said the whole season. He has his potential, and he has the skill set to do very well in our system if he fits the system and if the system fits him. And he wasn't the best as a lone striker. He started strong, ended weak in this campaign. He was even worse, I think, in the number 8 spot for Joe Linton.
Yeah.
When he was a victim of Eddie's experiments. I think the number 10 spot, especially in the system with this 4-2-3-1 shape, is like made for him.
Yeah.
With players like Husula, if he has a strong partner who is really fast, gets in behind, then it's really the position is made for him. With his skill set, with his dribbling, I don't know if you see it, but sometimes in the game you think the ball is lost, and somehow magically he just makes a pass out of it. So I always see 1, 2, 3 situations like this in the game where I always think, the ball seems to be lost, and he's marked by 2 or 3 defenders, and on a magic way he just gets the ball out and often starts good attacks with it.
Yeah, it's his amazingly long legs, isn't it? It does
Yeah, it looks so strange.
Yeah, exactly.
You
It looks a
think the
little
ball will
lanky.
be lost. There's no chance that he will recover it or do something with it. But Yeah, somehow you just blink with the eyes, and one moment later the ball is
Yeah, absolutely. He's
on
got
the
a
way to
very
Osula or Barnes or something.
He's got a very underrated control over the ball. So I think, yeah, absolutely, that is another skill we absolutely need to look to exploit more in the future. And getting some more people running off of him, getting some more people who are comfortable playing with him in the team will help him a lot as well, because he is a player that will always need good players around him. But that's completely fine, because if we have those good players around him, he'll be another one of the good players. So that's something to look forward to for the future. The other players in the starting lineup. So Will Osula started again this game. Well deserved. He's absolutely taken the opportunity that Eddie Howe has presented him through the run-in of this season with both hands, and he's very deserving of the starting place and repaid that faith yet again. We'll get onto that a little bit more shortly. As you said, Barnes and Ramsey on the wings, Ramsey in that sort of wing fielder hybrid, which I do also quite like for him. He did that for Aston Villa to great effect too. And then the double pivot Tonali Bruno Guimaraes, I think there's some work there, probably, but that work is mostly profile wise, because I still don't think there's enough steel in that midfield to break up attacks from a more competent attacking side than West Ham. If West Ham had less individualistic players, I think they would have scored possibly 2 or 3 against us today instead of just the one absolute worldie. And for the defense, it's probably the defense I would have started as well. Pope in goal, he had a pretty good game, despite the fact that I don't necessarily understand why Ramsdale lost his spot a couple of weeks ago. Hall back at left back. Trippier, his final game at St. James's Park, starting at right back. What a massive game and a massive moment for him as well. And then at centre back, it was Botman and Chiao. What did you make of Trippier's performance, maybe? Let's talk a bit more about him, because this was a very special game for him, wasn't it?
I was very happy for him to see that he's playing really, really well. And that we talked about a few weeks ago where he did make some mistakes, or in the Champions League campaign where he did a mistake in my eyes. And I was happy to that he has a really, really good farewell. And yeah, it wasn't overwhelming. He hadn't got hasn't have not gotten an assist or something, but he has a solid game. He made a solid game, and I think he will remember it for a long time.
Absolutely. And I don't necessarily think we can blame him for the mistakes he's made this season. And there have been a
No, no,
few,
no.
absolutely. You're right in pointing that out. But if we're being
But that
honest,
was that.
he's been
Yeah,
playing like a 36-year-old right back who's played 2 times a week, which he is. So we absolutely cannot blame him for that. It's because of the
no, no, no.
Livramento injury, Hall, who has been, I mean, when he's been fit, he's been ever present in the team. So there has been no room for rotation there either. So you can understand why he's had some off days as well. Probably the right time for him to move on in his career as well, but a massive, massive legend to this football club when he joined, the first signing under the new ownership. So, absolutely a player who I think had a massive influence in players like Bruno Guimaraes signing afterwards as well, because if Trippier had said, no, I don't fancy this relegation scrap, I think a lot of players would have followed suit as well. So we have a lot to be thankful for, a lot to be grateful for. A cup winning captain, an absolute club legend, Kieran Trippier. I wish you all the best in the further of your career. Hopefully, it's somewhere in America. I'd quite like to see him play in the MLS, to be honest. I think he has a bit of an American character when it comes to sport, so I'd quite like to see that. Um, Maybe onto the double pivot a bit more. What did you make of Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes in the center of the park?
Yeah, I think we talked about it when we talked about the transfer situation and something in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
The double pivot of these two, I think they're both high class or even world class midfielders
Mm-hmm.
for itself as individual players. But as a double pivot, it could be good. But today we saw also some situations like you mentioned before that. Um, yeah, Bruno and Tonali are, I think, more offensive than defensive in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
or they are interpreting their role a bit more offensive into our game in our at the moment our game,
Yeah.
our playing style, and Yeah, we're conceding goals when we had three midfielders, and it's curious that we only conceded one with two midfielders. So one person less behind the ball, but another. If we see on this other side, if we see Suchek or something, a real defensive midfielder, like a solid rock before
Yeah.
in front of the back four, could be a better option if we are staying with two midfielders.
Yeah, agreed. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a bulldog Palinha-esque midfielder either, because those midfielders to me
No.
have
Just
their
from the interpreting of his role.
yeah,
And
yeah, exactly. Because we players like Palinha, for example, when their role is limited to just win back the ball, they often break shape to go and win back possession, which means there's a lot of chaos in the middle of the park, and I don't necessarily think we thrive on that kind of chaos because we've seen this season there's a lot of space for teams to exploit, and usually they find a way to exploit it. But we have been linked with, I mean, I wanted to leave this for a bit later in the episode, but this was breaking news today, and this fits pretty well in this conversation. Lamine Camara from Monaco. Breaking news today from Fabrizio Romano. Do you know much about it?
not really. I saw him playing with Monaco, but I didn't have an eye, especially on him. So
Yeah.
I know the name, I know the face. I saw him on the ball a few times, but
Yeah. Well, this to
yeah.
me this is a very very exciting link because I've been not necessarily following him per se, but I know of him for quite a while because I quite like following the AFCON, the Africa Cup of Nations, and not even this edition, but the previous edition, he was still playing for Reims in France, and he was immediately earmarked as one of the players to watch for the Senegal national team, which back then he was 19 years old still, or 18 years old, so that's a massive call to make for someone so young for one of the better nations competing in that tournament. And he was absolutely brilliant. Monaco signed him off the back of that tournament, and his development has been pretty straightforward ever since, getting better each season onwards. He is a more defensive presence than any of our current midfielders, so that's why I think he's quite a good tactical fit. It's quite positive to see the club being linked to players like him because I think they've identified his role pretty well. But he also has that quick turn on the ball, which, for example, Kobe Mainu of Manchester United has. He is he has got very tight control of the ball, not easy to get off the ball as well, very physical for such a diminutive figure because he's not that tall. But I don't necessarily think we need much more tall players in this squad. Um, and yeah, like I said, he's really, really technically gifted, still only 23 years old, so there's room to grow for him. And I think he's just underneath the category of your Balebas, your Adam Whartons, your Elliot Andersons, who'll be going to the bigger clubs for close to 100 million. So yeah, to me, that's a very, very exciting and smart link, which I'd love to see come to fruition as well. And it's just the fact that we are targeting the right profiles, which is immediately giving me some positive ideas for the summer.
Yeah, like you said, if he is the one that you like you described him, then for me it sounds like a really good addition to the squad.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like always if, but if Eddie Howe stays and if he is willing, or I think he will be willing to change up his system and break it up and be more versatile, then we need someone like this character, like from interpreting his role, because we always see Bruno going up the pitch supporting the offense, but you have to admit he is too slow to get back into counter attacks. It's a fact, and it's nothing that makes him a worse player or something. He's phenomenal, but he's just too slow for coming back to counter attacks. And
Yeah, the
Tonali
consistent
often
box
is
to
then,
box role.
and Tonali, he's crazy fast and he's always trailing back those counter attacks. And but he's alone if Bruno is high up the pitch.
Yeah.
He's alone there, and
Yeah, and we saw against Barca
Tonali,
Tonali guessing out after 15 minutes because he was the only one who had the pace to keep
yeah,
tracking those attackers. So yeah, you're spot on there with that analysis. Absolutely.
even and there's another if, is even if Tonali stays at hindsight,
Hmm.
you will need another option there to be more versatile and to rest the players, even if we have just only one game per week, despite the cup games. But yeah, like I said, we saw Tonali today subbed off because of maybe injury or fatigue or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that we have to work on, definitely.
Completely agreed. All right, let's have a listen to what Paul's thoughts were ahead of the West Ham fixture today.
So I'll make my way down now to St James's Park ahead of today's 5:30 kick-off between Newcastle United and West Ham. Looking forward to this one. You know, we've got nothing really to play for apart from pride, which is quite a big thing. West Ham are clearly fighting for the very, very, very existence. And basically for me, this one, I want to see a little bit of heart and a bit of a spirit. I want the players to put on a show. I don't want us to be turned over like Bonnie Blue. And yeah, 3 points. We need to try and finish the season in some sort of style with some, you know, a victory or two. It would be nice. It does count towards momentum for the new season and the feel of the fans as well over all of the summer holidays and transfer speculation and the likes. Yeah, it's not going to be easy today. I know West Ham haven't travelled particularly well this season, but it means nothing when you're fighting for your very, very existence in the Premier League. That has to count for something. They've got the obviously ex-player, the striker. You know how the script is normally written in these sort of situations. So yeah, taking nothing for granted here. West Ham, they'll be backed. They'll have a vocal away end, no doubt about it. A good club with good fans. And it's a shame to see them down there, but you know, I've seen a lot of people talking about tactical losses and the likes. That doesn't come into my vocabulary. Every time Newcastle United play, doesn't matter whether it's against Barcelona or Burnley or West Ham, I expect the same. A good performance and a victory. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I'm pinning my hopes on for today. So to the team news, well, it is pretty much as it was expected, to be honest. No Joe Linton. He's been, well, probably protected. He's got an injury. He's in the 55-man preliminary Brazil squad for the World Cup, and you can't deny the bloke that. So I think it's the right call not to risk him today. Ramsey comes in his place. The other question mark was obviously who'd start at right back. It had to be Trippier. It is Trippier. I don't think the dog's toe plays, but never mind. Voltemade, he gets the nod. I would hope up top with Asula being out towards the right, but we'll see how that goes when the line up at St James's Park shortly. And the rest, yeah, is pretty much of a muchness. Dan Burn dropped. Oh my word. Dan Burn dropped. Again, I think that's the right call. I think that's the right decision. I thought Botman was good last time out, so he keeps his place. Botman and Chow, the preferred centre-back partnership. And I think before even Botman signed his new contract, it was to make sure he would be first pick there. And that's, you know, a sign of confidence, I think, from Eddie in Sven, and the fact that he's back, he's fit, and he's healthy. So, yes, Sven at the back, Chow at the back, Trippier, last appearance at St James's Park in a Newcastle United shirt. There's nothing to say he won't be back next season. And then left back, Hall, which I'm pleased to see, because I think the system we play, you need agile fullbacks, and Lewis Hall is definitely one of the best fullbacks in the entire league. So good. In the middle, Tonali, Bruno and Ramsey. Hopefully we see all of those back for next season. I don't think it's a give me, to be honest, but we'll see how that one goes. With lots of interest in, you know, the likes of Bruno and especially Sandro Tonali. And then it's just how he's going to set up, isn't it, from there. Harvey Barnes had to come in. He scored goals. He gets chances. He puts them away. 16 goals this season is absolutely fantastic. I think he's got another 5 assists or something like that as well. So that is good to see. You know, if you had to get rid of him, what would it cost to get somebody who could come in, who could score that amount of goals, no penalties, not like that, pure goals, assists? Yeah, it would be a tall order. So it's a good thing, I think, personally, for Barnes to be playing out on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, like I say, I touched upon before, I think it'll be Asula. It's a position I want to see him playing in, to see what he can do, and I think he'll be really effective there. Murphy, one shy of 150 starts for Newcastle United. He's on the bench today, up top Valdemara, and you would hope that would be enough to get the job done. It's not a bad side, that is it, whatsoever. A couple of youngsters on the bench, but still plenty of options as well to be able to bring off. So on to the pitch if we need to. But hopefully things go okay for us, and we can maybe see one or two of the youngsters get a little bit of an opportunity. That would be nice as well. Also, so yeah, big game, more so for West Ham than for us, but an opportunity to impress, an opportunity to lay the market down, ready for next season, and an opportunity to entertain the fans. They're back at half time, obviously alongside Kyle, to give you our thoughts on how the opening 45 is gone. But I sound like a bit of a broken record. By the end of it, by the time we do the lap of appreciation, I hope it's still a full house, and I hope it's us celebrating 3 points and creeping little bit by little bit up the Premier League table. Fingers crossed, we're back at half time.
And then we can immediately listen to his post-game thoughts as well, so that makes it a little bit easier for me to edit in as well.
Half time, and it's 2-0. It's been quite a walk in the park, to be honest. It's been quite easy. I expected West Ham certainly not to come and roll over like Bonnie Blue, but you know, they just didn't try it. I don't know, they started with 3 at the back, they've changed the formation, they've had a couple of minutes, but by and large, Newcastle United in the ascendancy, playing some decent stuff. Valdemara and Asula causing all sorts of trouble, and I think we look pretty solid at the back. What do you reckon, Cal?
It's been a good half. We're set up with a 4-4-2, something a little bit different from usual, and it's worked really well. Valdemara playing some lovely passes into the midfield and out wide. Asula being a menace for the West Ham defence. West Ham started with wing backs 5 at the back. It didn't work well for them. They were 2-0 down within 20 minutes. Valdemara with a brilliant finish, and then the same with Will Asula. Been having a bit of banter with Paul about Will Asula, because I've stood by him all season long. Good player in there, and he scores again today.
Apology later, coming by 24/7.
So all good on that one. But it's been a good half, but we need to not do what we've done previously this season and just sit back, because West Ham will try and give everything they've got. We need to hit them on the counter, maybe get a Langer on and go from there, and hit them on the break. But yeah, like Paul just said there, the next goal is absolutely massive. Hopefully a really good opportunity for a couple of players to get on, maybe even Sean Neve, who's on the bench, maybe a swan song for Anthony Gordon as well. But yeah, it's been a really positive half from Newcastle. But yeah, it's been, like I say, it's been really positive. And I'm trying to put words together, but the half-time show
Entertainment
is given we're a winner on the last day. But like I say, positive half. Valdemara and Asula really playing well. Been really impressed with Botman, who's handled Wilson quite well. Since West Ham went to 4-4-2, it has been a little bit more of a competitive game. Pope making a good save yes, that's right, Pope a good save. A double save even.
Is right twice a day though.
So something like that, yeah, exactly. So it's about managing the game now, trying to get a third goal, killing these off, and seeing our 3 points. If next goal's huge, hopefully hopefully the first 10 minutes we can calm the game down, get amongst it, and get the 3 points.
Yeah, it should be. Look, I said before the game, 3 points is a must. Put it on a bit of a show for the fans, a bit of entertainment. It's not been a champagne season, this one. It's had some good moments. Let's end on a high at home at St James's Park and try and finish as high as we can. A couple of goals in the second half would be nice, and then looking forward to the lap of honour after the game. And hopefully we're talking about a clean sheet and a couple more goals for Newcastle United. Half time, 2-0 up. Happy days so far.
Full-time job done. Well, you know, it papers over the cracks, does it not? Not been a champagne season, not been a great season. Some good moments, good goals, things you can look back on. Ultimately though, it fell a little bit flat. However, I must say that wasn't a West Ham sort of fighting relegation that I was expecting. You know, they rolled over. They didn't put up much of resistance. Of course, we couldn't keep clean sheet. Shock horror. Nick Pope, laugh out loud. But I thought we were really good in the first half. Second half, didn't really have to do anything. There was no threat. There was no jeopardy. There was no risk of us not getting the points. I felt a little bit of a stunning thing when they actually get the goal. To be honest, I was a little bit, oh, what the fuck type thing. So I didn't really think that they deserved anything from the match. And ultimately, they may have scored a bit of a thundercunt, but they're going back down to London empty-handed. They're going down to London knowing that if Spurs get a point out of the remaining 2 games, they're cooked, they're fucked. And it's going to be a difficult situation for them. They're a club who's got income issues. We all know about the stadium, massive debt, not many sellable assets, and they're going to have to do a major rebuild on a shoestring budget to get back up out of the Championship, you feel. Spurs, they've got 2 difficult games. It would be funny if Spurs still went down, but look, I said before, we do our job, we take care of business. We've jumped up to 11th in the league now, and we've got a chance of finishing in the top half of the season if we do the business against Fulham next time out in the season finale. But yeah, as easy a performance as you want. It was basically like a second gear job. Didn't have to break a gut. I was pleased for Asula. I was pleased for Voltemada. I thought defensively, despite obviously we conceded a goal again, that's 1 clean sheet in 15 now. The defence looked good. Botman looked good. Chow looked good. Fullbacks worked. Trippier, very emotional coming off at the end. And even warming up today, you could see it meant a lot to him. And I wish him the very, very best wherever he ends up next after leaving Newcastle in the summer. I'm going to leave it there, pass it back over to Ian. But yeah, finishing the season with a couple of results is better. It's encouraging. It suggests better times ahead. You know, this isn't the way that we thought the season would go. We all, I think, pretty much expected European football, but it's not to be. But a nice 3-1 victory today gets the job done on the afternoon, sends the crowd home happy, and yeah, a really good lap of appreciation there at the end. Fantastic. Leave it there. Looking forward already to the new season. Now back off home to annoy the missus for the summer. She'll find me a job or 2 to keep me out of mischief over the next couple of months. But yeah, leave it there. Pass it back to Ian. Thanks a lot for everybody who's listened to the podcast as well this season. It does mean a heck of a lot to us all. It'll be going every other week as a podcast with Ian over the summer, and in between we'll be doing specials. So there will be a video uploaded to Magpie 24/7 and the YouTube channel every Monday still at 5 o'clock. So tune in, listen and support us on toonTALK and support us on Magpie 24/7. Thanks a lot. Bye.
So it's finished full time at St James's Park. Newcastle United 3, West Ham United 1, and yes, it was I know it's been a frustrating season, but it was good to see we win the day in quite comfortable fashion. To be fair, I don't think West Ham had particularly much forward. I think with them playing wing backs, we played a 4-4-2, a different system from the usual 4-3-3, and it worked really well. Pushed onto the centre halves who didn't really have a great deal. Four were press in the game, which was nice to see a tactical change, which was proactive and actually trying to make a difference in the game from the start, rather than a reactive, which I know under Eddie a lot this season has been a criticism where it feels like we're reactive and not proactive in our approach. But no, it was a good performance. I think there was a good few performances across the park, which I really enjoyed. First, you want to start Walter Mara. Buzzing to see that lad score. Really am, because it's been one hell of a season for him. He started the season so well, and then he was put into midfield when he's not a fucking midfielder. He was in and out of the team. Got scapegoated a lot by local media and stuff like that for Newcastle's bad season, but it was great to see him score today. You put him up front, things happen, and he gets goals and he gets chances. And obviously with the 4-4-2, he was leaving the line with William Asula, who I'll come on to, but they linked up really well. In one was facilitator and the other one was presser off the ball, and it really helped in that aspect in terms of pushing the defence backwards. But it was meant to see Walter Mara score today. On to William Asula. He's had such a great end of the season. He really has. Like he's been prolific in front of goal. I think he scored 4 in his last 5. 2 today, 2 really clinical finishes. Even pulling out a dance move for his first one with Michael Jackson dance moves I've seen online after the game. But yeah, a really solid end of the season, and he's really came on leaps and bounds since last season. I know me and Paul have had back and forth about him, whether he's good enough, and I've maintained throughout the season. You can look on previous podcasts and stuff. I've stuck by William Asula as maybe a bench player and someone who can be a part of the squad. But if he keeps playing like he has the last 4 or 5 games, you'd back him to become a mainstay in the first team next season, because he offers something different. He offers that direct approach, and his ability to beat players is really good. You've seen that, a little bit of that today. You've seen it against Man United. Seen it the other week against Brighton as well. So there's a fantastic player in there with a really high ceiling, and I think it would be stupid to let him go in the summer. He's one of the players I really want to go. Right, let's have a future squad with him involved for sure. And I think if he gets regular football next season, I can see him scoring 10 to 15 goals at least next season. I really think there's a really high ceiling there for the lad. But another one I wanted to shout out as well, Jacob Ramsey. I was really impressed with him again. Another assist today, killer pass through, showing the player was signed really, and he's been really tidy in possession and stuff like that. And I think if we're going to transition into more of a possession-based side and stuff like that, Jacob Ramsey's someone that you can hang your hat on, because he's excellent in possession, good at getting the ball out and moving it quickly. And he has a really good pass in him as well, as we've seen in the last 2 games against Forest and West Ham. But yeah, really good performance all round from Newcastle. We look relatively comfortable. They switched from wing backs to a 4-4-2 after about 25 minutes, because we ripped them apart in the early going. And although the game did quieten down a little bit, it was never in a situation where West Ham were going to get back into the game or anything like that. I mean, Tatty or Tatey or whatever he's called, scored one hell of a goal, and barring that, they really didn't have an opportunity, did West Ham. Then I worry for them, because I've seen that exact same team in the past with Newcastle. Players that on their day can do it, but it's just the mentality is not there at all in those players. And it was echoed from the away end when they were singing "You're not fit to wear the shirt." And it is worrying times for them, and I wish them well because West Ham are a good club with good fans, and hopefully, regardless whether they stay up or go down, they manage to stick with it and get back up again. Because only a few years ago they were speaking about them as European champions, so they're a good side, they're a good club, and hopefully they can get back into the Premier League if they do go down, which I think at this point that they will. To be honest, I don't see Tottenham losing both games and then West Ham needing to pick up a win next weekend. But yeah, it's a bit uphill for them. It's not nice to see a team come to St James's and then lead to potentially relegation, because as fans we've been there. Do you know what I mean? It's not the nicest feeling. But I want to end the voice note on Kieran Trippier. Obviously, it was his last home game as a Newcastle United player today, and yeah, you could tell emotions were quite high. Um, he'd done a speech before the game today, and obviously just rallying around with the squad rallied around him before kick-off. It was really nice to see. And then he had a solid game again the day against Somerville, who looks really lively, and a player that if Newcastle are having a summer of new signings and overhaul, he's probably a player I'd look at, to be fair, because he looks really really direct and a player that can make things happen. So he'd be one on my list if I was in the recruitment side. But yeah, I mean, with Kieran Trippier, I mean, what a player he's been for Wakey. First one through the door from the new ownership, and he's carried himself with class on and off the pitch in terms of his leadership, rallying around players and helping them and being a part of the club, and then obviously started at right back in the Carabao Cup final against Liverpool last year and played really well, and has been a massive part of this club since the takeover, and would love to see him back in some capacity, whether that be coaching or whatever it may be. But yeah, it was nice to see him get a really good send off, because he definitely deserves that with how well he's played over the past few years. And like I say, wish him nothing but the best going forward. But that's what I want to end on today with that. And yeah, it's a big summer ahead. Obviously, one more game to go, and then we'll go from there. But a good 3 points today and a solid performance from Newcastle as we'll go on to the next one. But I catch you there, everyone.
We are going to discuss that fixture right now as well. A 3-1 win for us. And I think, first of all, let's talk about the goal scorers. So the first goal is assisted from Harvey Barnes. Pretty great cross for Nick Voltemade to... Honestly, it wasn't the most difficult finish in the world, but he does well. He especially does really well in creating space for himself, in my opinion. I think the West Ham defenders seem to completely forget he's there, which for a man of his size is quite an achievement. And he tucks it away really nicely. Afterwards, I mean, some shambolic playing out from the back from West Ham does go right before that goal. We win it back and immediately hit them to make to score the 1-0. And for the 2-0, I mean, to make us look like we're combining like prime Barcelona, that does take some doing. But it was a really well worked goal between Osula and I think it's Bruno who plays it to Ramsey, who plays it to Osula. Am I right in saying that, or was that the third?
Yeah, could be. It was such an uncharacteristic fast build-up
exactly.
play from us. Yeah, I can't remember when we put 5 passes together in such a tempo and such a quick way, directly into the box. But yeah, I think your thing was right.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, like you said, it's very unlike us to play such beautiful first touch football, but we absolutely did score the 2-0. Afterwards, it felt like we were starting to give up control a little bit. Not necessarily that West Ham were amazingly threatening before halftime, but we did take our foot off the gas a little bit, and afterwards in the second half, I mean, West Ham kind of tried, but the third goal from us really killed it for them. Then a couple of minutes later, Tati Castellanos scores probably a contender for goal of the season, because it is an absolutely magnificent strike from him. It has to be said. And West Ham afterwards did look like they might even go on to threaten us a little bit. It was still only around and about the 70th minute at the time of Castellanos' goal. And we were under a little bit of pressure afterwards. Nick Pope made a couple of decent saves. And I mean, I think 10 minutes later, Tati Castellanos hits the crossbar as well. And from that moment onwards, West Ham kind of wavered in their belief to still get something out of this game as well. And we saw it out quite comfortably in the end. I don't know, what were your thoughts on this game? Did you think we were so comfortable?
I think, like everyone saw, or those people who saw it, they saw us starting very strong. They saw West Ham struggling, especially the defense struggling with those 3 at the back, 5 at the back. Thing it seems like when you rewatch our first goal and even the second one, I think it felt like they didn't know what to do and who has to mark who, and yeah, you mark him and I don't know what to do. So it was way too easy for us, but despite that, we just played really, really well. We played direct football. We played easy. Finally, we played easy, proper football. Like, put 4 to 5 passes together. Not only, not only be in between the back four, but really those 4 or 5 passes into the box of the opponent, and yeah, those 1-2 passes and these come and goes things where you pull a defender and make the space. And like you said, the first goal of Voltemade, he wouldn't have scored it if he plays like Usula, like a striker.
Yeah.
So he needs to be behind the box, so in like 16, 20 yards outside of the goal line. And that's what his play style is made of. If you watch back all these highlight clips and something like that from him, you see some great dribblings. But what you see is something like, people criticized him a lot for that. He always looks a bit sluggish, and he's crawling around the field, something like that.
Yeah.
But exactly this is why, what you mentioned before, that he didn't got marked, because in fact he's 2 meters 2 meters high, but no one marks him. It's just because of that, because when there are strikers always pushing really high speed into the box, everyone sees him, everyone notices him, everyone notices the threat coming from this person, from this player, and they are aware of it. But if there's someone like Voltemade, he's a bit sluggish, and you think, yeah, he's 10 meters, 10 yards away. You lost him. You lose him out of your sight, out of your fear or threat, and then it's his positioning, something like that, to come behind these defenders and just has to tap in. But as you said, we lost the grip, I think, from the 30th minute onwards.
Yeah.
I think it was about the 30-minute where 26 minutes where he subbed on Castellanos for Todibo and switched to a back four, and I think like something like a double striker formation with Castellanos and Wilson. And that was the moment where they got the grip on the game and we lost it, or like you said, took the gas away a bit. And I was a bit afraid that we maybe concede one before halftime.
Yeah.
But finally, and we did it. Thank God. Then we came. Did we talk about the second half? Yeah, I think you summarized the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we came back from halftime. We came stronger than we went in. And and then the same thing happened. Like you said, the goal from Castellanos was a really nice one. Pope was a bit mispositioned, but I think he didn't believe that he will
Yeah, I
take the
thought
ball
so
down
too.
and find and,
Yeah.
and directly put it over him.
Which you can't really
Um,
blame him for either, to be honest.
Nah, I think he was surprised as we all were. Um,
Yeah, I saw
but
even
yeah,
some
from
Geordies
then
applauding him in the stands, so it was a
yeah,
really lovely finish.
and from that moment on, I was a bit scared. It was this standard scare if you watch every Newcastle United game in
Yeah,
this season.
exactly.
This classical feeling of now we're throwing it away, possibly.
Yeah,
And
wouldn't be the
if
first time.
correct, that's why. And another if they would have scored a second one a few minutes after, then I still believe it would have been
Yeah,
nightmare.
we would have probably been in trouble. I agree.
Definitely, yeah. But it was the only goal, and we managed to defend everything away. And yeah, I would support your saying that they lost the hope after after Castellanos crossbar strike.
Yeah, yeah, I
There
think
was
so
the
too.
moment where they thought, yeah, it's today is not the day.
Yeah, and afterwards, I mean, at that point, the game kind of died,
Yeah.
in some ways, and even still, for some reason, right towards the end of the game, Willock and Bruno Guimaraes all of a sudden got into it a little bit with each other. I mean, it was strange, and I couldn't really understand what was going on when it happened during the game. The thing I thought of it was, well, first of all, Willock kind of know your place because know who you're talking to at that point. It's still the best player in the Newcastle United shirt, the captain on the field. So he might even be right, still be respectful towards one another. But then at the same time, I did also think we are 3-1 up and the players are still committed enough to be angry at one another when things aren't going exactly like they want it to go. And that is kind of a good sign, in my opinion, because it does show they care, especially for Bruno and, I mean, for Willock. You can say whatever you want about Willock, about his quality, about his injuries, about his lack of minutes over the last couple of years, but it has never been for a lack of effort for him. So, yeah, that is kind of a strange one. And then after the game, I got some messages from people, Willock, who just said Willock with some laughing emojis. So I do wonder if something else happened after the final whistle as well, but it was a pretty strange situation, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was a bit confused at first because I don't know. I think we have the same video material in live TV with German Sky Sports and Belgian or English
Yeah,
English
I
TV
don't know,
coverage.
honestly.
I think it should be the same feed. And so the camera was full screen on Bruno Guimaraes shouting around.
Yeah.
And my first thought was that he's angry on any West Ham player. Maybe said something rude or don't know. But then the camera switched over to Willock and he's shouting back. Yeah, and I was a bit confused. So we are 3-1 up. We are in the, I don't know, 92th minute, 92nd minute. So
Maybe then
what's the
feed,
problem here?
yeah, maybe then the feed is different for us because for the Belgian version, it was actually open play you saw, then Willock
Yeah.
getting the corner. It was a close-up from Willock who was shouting, and the commentator even asked who would he be shouting towards, and then they showed Bruno Guimaraes shouting back, and the commentator even immediately said, "Ooh, he's shouting towards Bruno. I wouldn't personally do that." So it was a very strange situation, but it is nice to I mean it is interesting to find out that it's probably then different live streams.
Yeah, right afterwards, when it was clear that both are arguing together or against each other, I was thinking what happened before maybe. I think, did Willock try to take a shot on the goal?
I think he
Instead
was.
of-
I think he was waiting for a cross, and nobody made a great run, or was just stood still in the box or something, and he was shouting at the attackers.
could
And I
be.
think Bruno probably was saying something like, "Just keep possession, mate," or calm down or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm just speculating at this point. We don't know.
Yeah, the problem is that we just hopped on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, we haven't
so-
had a chance to see what social media cooked up about this.
Yeah, I was hoping that Sky shows something,
Mhm.
but right after the final whistle, they show like 10 seconds of the clapping, and then right into the advertisement. And then I went straight back in this room to record. So maybe
Yeah, I
the
mean-
interviews showed something. Maybe the cameras showed something after the final whistle.
Yeah,
where
I was
the
just
arguing
looking on
goes on.
Instagram, but I can't seem to find anything. Something else nice to mention. Lovely celebration from Will Sula with the little sparkling glove. Love that from him.
It wasn't for the Drake album.
I think it was a Michael Jackson celebration because he was doing Michael Jackson dance, wasn't he?
I wasn't sure, but so I'm not into
I mean,
into
any
music. If
any
it
dancer
right comes out,
any dancer who grabs his crotch to me is doing a Michael Jackson dance.
yeah. But the German commentator says, "Oh, there's someone who listened the whole new Drake album and at the
Oh,
weekend because I think
okay.
it dropped on Friday."
Yeah.
And yeah, he just saw, he just told said that someone seems to have listened the whole album from
I
Drake.
mean,
So
I could imagine Osula being a Drake fan, to be honest. So that that wouldn't honestly surprise me all that much.
yeah, I just saw yeah. He, if you look up on Instagram, there is a picture of Drake wearing Michael Jackson's legendary glove and doing this
Oh,
pose.
okay.
And I think he just
Nice.
recreated it.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, love that. Love that.
So there seems to be a connection between him, Drake, Michael
Yeah.
Jackson. Could be.
Fantastic. Okay. This result then. So we won 3-1. What does this mean for the final day? Because we've only got one more match before the end of the season. And that match is away at Craven Cottage against Fulham. Right now, we are set in 11th in the table, on the same amount of points as Chelsea. I'm just going to let that sink in for a bit. And we are 2 points behind the Scum, and 3 points behind Brentford. So basically, Brentford still have Liverpool on the final day. Chelsea and Sunderland face one another on the final day, but Chelsea also still have to face Tottenham tomorrow. So if results do go our way a little bit, I mean, a bit more than a little bit, but not all results have to go our way, but some do. And we get a result against Fulham at Craven Cottage, Conference League somehow is still on for this season. Do we deserve Conference League?
I don't think so, but I think we should take everything.
Absolutely,
That-
absolutely my thoughts.
If
Yeah.
all the other teams like presented to us, gifted us, if we are honest, everyone has to play for us. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think Liverpool has to beat Brentford there,
Yeah.
and Sunderland, Chelsea needs to be a tie. Tottenham needs to win.
This is probably the
against
time for us
Chelsea.
to make the right pleas to the right teams. So, for example, if anyone from Liverpool is listening to this, you can't make it 21 defeats in a league winning campaign. You can't. 20 defeats is embarrassing enough as is. 21 defeats really isn't acceptable. So you have to beat Brentford, really, honestly. Chelsea, come on, just Chelsea won't lose against Spurs, will they? and Chelsea,
Tottenham
Sunderland.
has to give us the favor back we did for them today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tottenham, come on. For once in my life, I will be cheering on the Spuds. So come on.
Yeah, it's like this meme where the one has the stick and do something.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever result tomorrow's game between Chelsea and Tottenham, there's still something to play for in the final day, which is always exciting, to be honest. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, there is something Newcastle related I still wanted to discuss with you. Our new shirts are doing the rounds on internet. The new home shirt, or as the people online have dubbed it, the barcode shirt. And then there's the salmon pink away shirt. And there should be the navy blue third kit with the retro badge. What are your...
Was it the third kit or was it a training kit or like a warm-up shirt? I saw both.
I hope it is a third kit, because it is honestly out of the three, it is the one I unequivocally really like and will immediately buy if it ends up being one of our shirts.
Yeah.
But honestly, nothing is confirmed, so I don't know. I mean, it is very likely that the barcode shirt will become our shirt, because I've seen it absolutely everywhere. To be honest, I'm saying barcode shirt, but I'll say something controversial. I don't mind it that much. What are your thoughts on the home shirt?
I was I was just thinking about how I can package it that no one hates me. I like you said, I saw so many bad reviews or opinions
Yeah.
about this shirt, but I just look at the picture. I think it looks not that bad.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts. Yeah, I'm
So, yeah,
I'm glad you're saying this.
I can understand that people are talking about the original stripes and you can't mess with the stripes and yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah,
Like
I think
like
so too.
what I really loved about our shirts in the past or previous years were these light blue or sky blue. Yeah, is it sky blue? But
Touches.
light blue.
Details.
How is it called? Yeah.
Yeah.
So and on this shirt, it's really present on the arms and on the neck, and yeah, I think it depends also on the front shirt sponsor. It
Yeah,
makes a big
absolutely.
difference. The Sela, it fits really well in there, but let's
Yeah,
see
just
what we
don't
get.
just don't get a colored sponsor in there, please.
Yeah, it's like Dortmund with from this season they got Vodafone and Vodafone is
Yeah.
red and white and Dortmund is black and yellow and
Yeah. It just
it
really
looks
clashes.
so.
Yeah.
But they agreed to
Have
do
you
it.
seen the Mr. Bro sponsor on the Preston North End kit?
No,
So Preston is always plain white with I mean Tottenham's kit is inspired by Preston North End, so that's usually the colors, and now there's just these bright red letters in the middle of the shirt. It is a
but bros, yeah, I just
yeah,
see it
Spud
here.
Bros. Yeah, Spud Bros. That's the one. I mean, it is a cool story because it is a local YouTube channel which is now sponsoring the team. So it is a really cool story. But just turn the color blue. Just turn the logo blue, please. It
Yeah,
looks awful.
that's what I mentioned with Vodafone in Dortmund. They agreed on the home shirt to do it black
Yeah.
instead of
Luckily.
red because it just fits better and looks way better.
Yeah.
So let's hope for a good sponsor,
Agreed.
or a sponsor who's really who is cool with coloring his
Yeah,
logo maybe.
exactly. And if we're mixing it up with the sponsors, just I mean swap out Noon for first of all a sponsor that will pay more, but second of all a sponsor that doesn't just have a bright yellow badge on your sleeve,
Yeah.
because I hate it. I hate that Noon badge.
But back to the barcode shirt, I think it looks kind of cool. And
Yeah.
I'm following football this long, and every year when Dortmund or even now Newcastle presents new shirts or they're the first rumors, everyone is hating them.
Yeah.
And in the end, everyone is buying them and everyone is finding them cool because in 3 years there will be another league and people say it looks shite. For 3 years ago, our shirt was so cool. And mostly it's the same people who 3 years ago said it looks shite,
Yeah.
and let's see if when it drops and when it's hanging in the store and when people and especially players wear it, and then we take a
Absolutely.
final
And it
conclusion
could have
on the
honestly
shirt.
been a lot worse as well, because Adidas are stepping into more of a fashion meets football kind of world. Because if you have a look at the Adidas World Cup kits, there are some bold designs among them, I shall say. For example, America's home kit, I think, is a really weird interpretation of what their home kit usually looks like. So it could have been a lot more drastic. So I'm glad it's just this, but this to me is a good balance between doing something fresh and doing something new while still adhering to what's traditionally your club. Because whichever way you turn it, this shirt still possesses black and white stripes. It's not. They aren't the same size, and it's not like we usually do black and white stripes, but it still is black and white stripes.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm on the same page, definitely.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
last thing, maybe coming back to the rumored third shirt or
Mhm.
maybe training or warm-up shirt, but I hope
Yeah.
it's the new third shirt
Yeah.
with these Adidas. I know don't know, it's a Samba logo, I think. So, or these Adidas Originals
Yeah,
logo. It looks really cool together
yes.
with the old or classical badge with the Magpie inside and the castle.
Yeah, it
And
looks
these
really slick. Agreed.
brickwork pattern. It looks really cool.
Yeah, love it. All right, maybe we can finish this episode with some general football chat, because there's still some pretty nice things or funny things happening around the world of football. For example, have you followed up on Spygate in the second tier?
The what?
Have you heard about Spygate going on in the championship?
Yeah, with the German coach
Yeah,
involved,
Tonda
maybe, or
Eckert. Yeah.
his assistant. Yeah. It goes around in the German media.
I love that. Oh, it is absolute cinema. Have you seen the picture of the spy
I think he was like hiding
behind
a
the
bit
tree?
and,
Yeah.
There,
Oh,
it really
that
looks like
made
a
me
meme.
laugh
I think it will become a meme
so much.
for sure.
It has to. It has to. I mean, Middlesbrough came out with a statement saying they caught a spy with some high-tech espionage gear, and then they release a picture of a guy just holding his phone behind a tree. And apparently they wanted to confront the guy, and he ran off to hide in some bathroom of a golf club directly adjacent to the training grounds. Afterwards, he got changed in those bathrooms and went to buy a coffee at a place which is owned by the same owner as Middlesbrough, so now they have his card transaction details as well. So they have literal evidence of him traveling halfway across the country. I mean, not even halfway, traveling across the entire United Kingdom to go and do
Absolute cinema.
some
But in the end, they
Southampton
won the
espionage.
match.
Yeah,
Didn't they?
Southampton won, so they face Hull in the Championship playoff final. But on Tuesday, we will know whether or not that they will actually be allowed to play that final, because not only is it blatant cheating, and I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, this happened too with Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds, and afterwards they implemented a new rule which forbids it because there wasn't before. So now there has definitely been a rule that has been broken, and other clubs are claiming that Southampton have done this throughout the season as well. So if that turns out to be the case as well, they might be in some really big trouble. But then we have to talk about point deductions and maybe Wrexham even jumping them and getting into the playoffs. But then Middlesbrough might have played 2 games more than Wrexham. It could be an entire mess. Even Hull don't know if they will get to play the final this weekend. Borough are still training just in case they are allowed to take Southampton's spot in the final. It's a really interesting situation.
Crazy shit.
And then finally, something fun I'd like to add, something I'd like all of the people at home to go and look for right after this episode has finished. The football season has ended in the Netherlands today. It was the final match week. And to give you a little bit of context, there is a little club which I am thinking about ironically, because they will never overtake Newcastle, obviously, but ironically adopting as one of my new clubs. Telstar is the name. The context, in a very, very small portion of time, they went up last season despite finishing 6th in the second tier. The second tier of Holland is called the Keukenkampioen Divisie, or the Kitchen Champion Division. So they went up despite finishing 6th, did not have anywhere near enough of a budget to realistically compete in the first tier, had to wait for confirmation of being allowed to compete right before the season kicked off. And from match day 1, they played amazing football to watch. Genuinely, their coach is now going to Utrecht, which is a definite step up because they played Europa League football this season. They have never wavered from their belief that playing a positive brand of football would be the way for them to stay in the division. And today they had a game against Volendam, the team who were 1 point behind them, which meant the loser of that match would have to play a playoff game against the third side from the second tier to decide whether they stay in the league or go down. So that's a really, really massively important, but also massively stressful game. So everyone likes to. The Bundesliga has it too, right?
Yeah. The third one is the
Wolfsburg is
relegation.
playing it, right?
Yeah, it's called relegation, where the third last plays the third best in the
that's exactly
from
it.
the lower division.
That's exactly it. The only thing that's a bit different is that in Holland there's playoffs to become the third place team. But so they had to win today against Volendam to avoid that and to make the fairy tale story come true. Or draw. But they were drawing. Volendam were attacking. And still, Telstar got a penalty 1 minute before the 90 minutes. Guess who took the penalty?
I just saw it in your story. In halftime, I think, during the Newcastle game.
For anyone who didn't see it, it was the goalkeeper of Telstar. And I mean, you probably won't know the goalkeeper himself, but you'll definitely know who his father is. It's the son of...
You can tell from his name.
Absolutely.
From the name of his son.
It is the son of Ronald Koeman, legendary Holland centre-back, Barcelona centre-back, goal-scoring centre-back, and his son is a goalkeeper, 30 years of age, played his first full season in any top division, and he keeps his side in the league, not by saving a penalty, but by scoring one himself in overplay. It's unbelievable. It's one of my favorite stories of the season.
He got the good foot from his father.
Yeah.
If I remember, he was a free kick specialist.
He was. He scored tons of goals for Barca. Tons of goals. I mean, and it's a banging penalty as well, right in the bottom right corner. So fantastic stuff. And really, really happy, really funny scenes at Telstar today. Yeah, some great stuff. This is what football is all about. Is there anything else you might have seen this week which you'd like to discuss?
Not really, I think. But
Not really.
I'm pretty proud of us. We aimed for a little bit shorter
A shorter episode.
Yeah, a shorter episode than normally. But normally we're talking 90 minutes.
I mean, we did half that
plus.
Today.
I think we didn't hit our aim, but we are shorter than normally.
Close enough.
I think
close enough.
It should be appreciated a lot.
Absolutely. I think so too. My room is turning dark completely as well, so I think if we're going on for 10 minutes more, the people at home won't be able to see me anymore. So this is probably a perfect time to call it a day. If you did go on to enjoy listening to this episode on Spotify, please make sure to give us a 5-star review. If you watch this on YouTube, please like, subscribe, leave us a nice comment. Head on over to our social media pages, Magpie 24/7 on all the social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you know the drill. And we would like to see you in the next episode. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.